The next 12 weeks are divided into two parts. We call part one awareness and definition. Everything in part one helps you become more self-aware so you can be more thoughtful about where you're going and how you're going to get there. Then part two is all about encouragement and accountability. Encouraging you when it's hard and providing needed accountability to help you stick with your commitments. Let me tell you a little bit more about part one. Part one uses the analogy of a puzzle to help you build and realize a satisfying, fulfilling next season of life. We break it down into 4 steps. Step 1 is your box top. Anytime you're putting together a puzzle, you have to have a picture of what the final product is supposed to look like in order to successfully build it. Seasons of life work the same way. The answers to such questions as, what do I want in this season of life? Or what would a satisfying, fulfilling version of this season look like? Those questions will help you form the box top for this season of life. Once we have a clear picture of what we want the puzzle to look like, it's time to start the process of putting it together. Once you pour out the pieces on the table, what are the first pieces you typically start looking for? If you're like most people, you go looking for those corners. Because the corners establish the critical points from which you're going to start building your puzzle. And once you find those 4 pieces, it's easier to move forward. And in life, those corners are the areas of your life where you know you want and need to grow or mature or change. Possible corners in this next season of life could be discipline or confidence or authenticity or even faith. The main question in step 2 is, what areas do I know I need to work on to enable me to realize my box top? The third step in the puzzle building process is finding the edges. The edge pieces connect our corners, and once all connected, create the frame for our puzzle. When we're building a season of life, we also need the right frame of mind. It's important to adopt and equip ourselves with the right thoughts that are going to inspire and motivate and empower us to grow and change. We call these right thoughts in Season Builder principles. For example, if I know I need to grow in patience, I might adopt the principle, you don't eat the fruit the day you plant the seed. Reminding myself of that statement constantly will help me mature and grow in patience. Remember earlier when I said change is hard, and I told you this process may get hard and uncomfortable at some point along the way? It's our principles that are going to get us through those hard times. Our principles don't necessarily make us feel better, but they do help us respond better. So finally, we have our box top and the frame of the puzzle in place. Now it's time to fill in the middle. The middle pieces are our actions. What are we going to do to pursue and produce growth and change? Just like filling in the middle pieces helps you complete a puzzle, actions and habits produce growth and maturity in you to help you realize a satisfying, fulfilling season of life that you want. This final step will lead you through identifying those actions. So that's what we're going to do over the next 4 weeks. We're going to put the plan together. It's all about awareness and definition. Now, part 2. So let me ask you a question. Have you ever read a book that had some really good ideas and concepts? Okay, what about an awesome podcast that gave you some really good practical tips? Maybe you went to a camp or a conference where you learned cool drills or techniques to be better at your sport or your job. I'm guessing there were a lot of you nodding your head. Now, let me ask you another question. Did you actually do those things after you finished the book? After you listened to the podcast? Or you got back from that camp or that conference? I'm guessing there were a lot of you shaking your head now. Hey, I know. Join the club. If you're like most people, it got hard or uncomfortable or even inconvenient, and you just didn't start or you kind of stopped. And like most people, the reason you probably stopped or didn't even start is the lack of encouragement and accountability. When things get hard, uncomfortable, or inconvenient, we need encouragement and positive accountability from friends to cheer us on and push us through. That's what weeks 5 through 12 focus on. Encouragement and loving, friendly accountability from yourself and your coach. Part 2 of Season Builder is the piece that is missing in most of our lives. With Part 2's encouragement and accountability, you're going to realize the fulfilling, satisfying next season of life that you want. Again, I'm excited for you and look forward to hearing reports of lives transformed. Let's get started.